Can you see the screen?
Yes.
So I will deliver lecture to you because no one joined. That's very sad. Uh, to be honest, that's okay. Uh, am I audible? Am I audible?
Yes.
Okay. So first is what the data shows. It's like youth civic engagement in Kazakhstan, the numbers behind the silence. So yesterday, where we left off, was the same youth, but the different room. In the last lecture, I introduced you to the format. Like, it's not the audience decides whether young people engage, and today we test that observation against the data. Uh, the evidence, where I took all information, and I can send you it as well if you want. And I took it from the British Council Next Generation 2025 National Youth Survey, UNICEF Kazakhstan, and from the Aygirim Baykulova research. For the civic number, the context. You cannot understand the silence without understanding the pressure. What occupies a young person's mind every day determines what they have room to care about. So this means that what occupies a young person's mind, like games, every day determines whether he's gonna learn something about rights or he's gonna learn about some other not good stuff for him, like playing games or other stuff like this. So the pressure is numbers. 38.9% of MEET youth name unemployment as their primary daily concern. This is from the CRC Youth Survey from NEET Youth in Kazakhstan. So after the graduation, as you can see, the 39 people from 100 people are genuinely unemployed, affected by the unemployment, and uh, don't choose it because they don't know anything about their future and their opportunities. I believe 3 times mental health disorders among Kazakhstani adolescents run up to 3 times higher than European peers. This is from UNICEF Kazakhstan, 23 to 24, and this means that comparing to European Union, Kazakhstani youth are affected by the mental health disorders because the pressure among the parents, peers, and other social media stuff, and these disorders harming their mental health systems and other stuff like this. So when survival dominates daily life, abstract rights, the education is rationally deprioritized. This means that in daily life, people usually decide not to choose the human rights and learning about their own rights, and they decide to do their job and just play the games all day long, and because of that, the abstract rights education is deprioritized. This is not youth failure; it's rational response to pressure. Now the civic numbers. From 13 to 24% describe themselves as civically engaged, and the share declines with age. Approximately 1 in 5 people are civically engaged with peers or with other people and help overcome these general problems. But other 4 up to 5 persons decide to just don't care about the system and or just because of some circumstances they decide not to choose the civically engagement, and because of that this puts a major amount of pressure on the people, and it creates the enormous pressure that will cause youth to lack education of rights and create some lazy environment. Below 30% voted in recent elections, that was from the British Council in 2015 or 25th year, but future voting intentions are significantly higher across all groups that will exist. So I have created some survey not long ago where I asked about young people or other people that are engaged with the civic environment and other votes and other stuff like this, and other half of the people I asked about their own rights and their own dignity, and the other 50% said that the rights were complex enough and they're lazy enough to just dismiss it and don't care about the rights itself. So the numbers show us that in recent elections, there are 21 or 29 people from 100 chose to vote, and other 71 person decided not to vote and just ignored this stuff. And because of that, the voting measures are significantly decreased, and the environment is overall bad. The reasons why they vote, it's to desire to bring a change to the country, a sense of civic duty. They believe that in their hands they could change everything, which is true, and because of that they vote, and maybe sometimes they create some awareness among the youth to vote and to create something to bring change to the world. But the second option is why they don't vote is the lack of faith in the impact of an individual vote. So you can understand that many of youngsters prefer not to vote, not just because they know that this is not helping, or this is some article that creates other problem. No, they just lack of faith in the impact. Like, for example, if I say I didn't vote, not just because of some circumstances, but because I believe that my vote isn't pricey enough. Like it's not going to give an impact on other people. So because of that, the main reason why they don't vote is the lack of faith. Neither reason is apathy. One is hope. The other is learned helplessness. The who intends to vote, the strongest predictor. Plus 20.3% young ethnic Kazakhs are 12.3% more likely than other ethnic groups to intend to vote. Ethnicity, not education, not income, emerge as the strongest predictor of voting intentions. Civic belonging is unevenly disturbed. So, among other ethnic Kazakhs, young people are more likely to vote because with some new civic engagement programs and other opportunities that the government provide them, they with time change their mind, and because of that, by this day we have up to 12.3% of youngsters that intend to vote other than the ethnic groups. The map matters, the rural picture. Astana is not Kazakhstan. Aygirin Baykulova in 2024 studied youth well-being in Western Kazakhstan and found weaker digital literacy, lower institutional trust, and stronger economic pressure outside major cities. The communication failure is the worst where resources are tiniest. And quote unquote, her words was any solution built only for Astana will miss the youth who need it most. To be honest, that quote has a deep meaning, not just because it's a complex words, but because it's provide a map to other people to understand it. So what she means is that in Astana, yes, Astana is the most major and the most tremendous city in the Kazakhstan. But if we don't include other cities and other owls and other cities, like under the cities, we will miss the youth who need it most. I have an example, like my friend right here in Aul. He is very, very kind person, and he believes that in Kazakhstan the opportunities will be provided to other cities and other auls, not beyond Astana, because right now, if we compare Astana to other cities, the opportunities present will lower and leverage will be decreased by approximately 30%. This source I took from the Aygirin Baykulova Journal of Social Studies Education Research in 2024. So the paradox, 80% are optimistic about the Kazakhstan future. Not just don't care about the future of Kazakhstan, but rather they have chosen to believe that their vote doesn't cost anything, and they lack the faith in their impact and other ethical stuff that actually can give the most meaningful and most impactful vote. So low engagement, low turnout, high hope, This is not a generation that gave up. So in their own words, young Kazakhstanis indicate they would participate more if politics was easier to understand and information was more accessible. This was from British Council, Next Generation Kazakhstan. They diagnosed the problem themselves, we just weren't listening. And I quite relate to this problem because, as I said, I created a survey and 70% of people that have completed the survey has said that politics was a complex thing to understand. And I believe too that we will provide an easier wordings and easier information and more accessible information in future, because right now we graduate from high schools knowing complex math, and when it comes to defending our own rights, we're just in the shadow. They do engage, just not where we look. Three person from 4 feel they belong to their local community. 27% rituals, 25% volunteering. 75% plus use the platforms daily, most used source of information and the least trusted. It's like WhatsApp, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, and other social media stuff has the most useful information and the least trusted information. Not just because I don't believe in this social media, but because other people that want to mislead and may lead or mislead people and create disinformation and create malinformation, they will try anything to provide a blockage to not give the youth their rural rights. What all of this points to? The data confirms the observation. This is not communication failure. Oh, I'm sorry. This is a communication failure, not a youth failure. Pressure crowds out abstractions. Excess block participation. Hope survives anyway. In the next lecture, the frameworks that explain what actually reaches them, the anchor effect, that I believe that unique thing that I created while researching about youth. And this overall data confirms that this is the biggest communication failure in the moment and not a youth failure. I believe that all of the people will slowly but steadily understand that this is not youth problem, but a communicational problem, because by this day, I don't want to accuse, but most of the parents say to their child, like, for example, why don't you listen? Why don't you do that? Why don't you do this? But to be honest, to me, all of the rights is a complex thing. Like the lectures, the articles, and other technical stuff to learn is very, very specific and complex to understand. And because of that, I believe that in the future we will provide a communication that will be easier to understand and will provide accessible information. So your turn is to answer one of 3 questions, or you can answer all of them. Like, does this data match your own experience? What does survival anxiety looks like? for youth in your country? And the third one, where does the civic instinct live in your country or in your community, if not in politics?
I guess he stayed matched very well with my
Hmm?
own. I guess
Actually,
his data actual matches with my own experience in my how to say my society, uh, among my friends, among my family. Almost no one went to vote, and almost nobody actually interested in politics. Even my mom constantly says that, like, do not go to protests, don't do that, don't get in trouble trying to change something uh, among the state. And yeah, me also did didn't go to vote. I just fell asleep.
okay, thank you very much. Uh, Olga, do you have something to add? You might answer it in the chat.
I'm sorry, I'm late and I didn't catch, the main topic.
Okay,
I'm so sorry.
yeah, okay, that's not a problem. So right now we're discussing about data. I can briefly explain to you about the data if you want.
Okay, if you could, please.
Okay, so I will start from the start. Like data, we discussed about same youth but different rooms. This is three main sources which provided me and accessible and free information. The main quote in this lecture is that you cannot understand silence without understanding depression, which means that whether the games or the books occupies a young person's mind every day determines what they have room to care about. Like, for example, if you put in someone's mind a bunch of games, they will decide that their games is a future and will just learn and to play how to play games. But when you create an environment that provides easier communication and greener environment, like safer environment, they will understand the complex things in one crack. So depression in numbers 38%, 38.9% of NEET youth name unemployment as their primary daily concern. This is from the survey of NEET youth in Kazakhstan. Most of them say that after the graduation, they decided to be unemployed, and they maybe some of them have chosen to be delivery person, as this right now is the most ubiquity thing the in our society. And but from 100% that graduated, 39% of them is just doesn't apply to the jobs and doesn't know what to do. So mental health disorders among Kazakhstani adolescents run up to 3 times higher than European peers. What does that mean? So the pressure that grows from the parents, that grows from the peers, that grows from the other people that you care the most will stack up like a pile, and eventually will crack and create some disorders in your mental health. Because the social media and other stuff like Instagram stories is very, very ubiquity in our country. Peers believe that this social media have a profound effect on will have a profound effect on us, and will decide whether we will have a bright future or we'll sit in room without any ideas. So when survival dominates daily life, abstract rights education is rationally deprioritized. This is not a youth failure, this rational response to pressure. This means that when survival dominates in daily lives, like games, other stuff like listening to music, not deciding to learn about your rights, not deciding to learn about your school programs, school opportunities, in the games, like the survival instincts, dominate daily life. The peers right now prefer to play the games rather than choose to learn about their rights. But I believe that is the most common thing, and the most biggest problem is the communication failure. But we will talk about it later. The civic numbers, 13 to 24%, describe themselves as civically engaged, and the share declines with age. Approximately 1 in 5 people decide to help and volunteer or create some civic programs or campaigns, or even participate in this. But other 4 decide to just play the games and be lazy and don't participate in any of this. Below 30% voted in recent elections, which is a fairly equal pace that comparing to the United Nations or United States. But future voting intentions are significantly higher across all groups that will exist, or they will exist. So young people, peers, decide to not to think about complex things and not to learn about the complex things, which is fairly equal, fairly understandable. But 29 people from 100 decide not to vote because they believe that their vote have no faith, and they lack faith in their vote because it provides not impactful vote. The reasons why they vote and why they don't vote. Why they vote is the desire to bring a change to the country, a sense of civic duty. Why they don't, it's the lack of faith in the impact of an individual vote. As I said, they don't believe in themselves, and they think that the other people will do same and create some stuff, while they will just sit and don't vote. But because of this create a mass earthquake, I'd say, because it shakes everybody, and as you can see, more than 1/3 didn't vote in the recent elections. It's not a apathy. One is hope, the other is learned helplessness. Plus 20.3% young ethnic Kazakhs are 12.3% more likely than other ethnic groups to intend the vote. ethnicity, not education, not income, emerged as the strongest predictor of voting intention. Civic belonging is unevenly distributed. Astana is not Kazakhstan. Aygul Baykulova studied youth well-being in Western Kazakhstan and found weaker digital literacy, lower institutional trust, and stronger economic pressure outside the major cities. The communication failure is the worst when resources are tiny. Any solution built only for Astana will miss the youth who need it the most. I believe you will research it later because I don't have many minutes left. The paradox, like the 80% of youth are optimistic about the Kazakhstan future. Low engagement, low turnout, high hope. This is not a generation that gave up. In their own words, young Kazakhstanis indicate they would participate if politics were easier to understand and information was more accessible. This is from the British Council on Next Generation Kazakhstan. 75% plus use the platforms daily. Like 3 people from 4 use WhatsApp, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, Telegram daily. And because of that, they create mass earthquake that shaking everybody, and only 27% participate in rituals community and 25% participate in volunteering campaigns. The data confirms this is not a communication failure and not a youth failure. Oh, I'm sorry. This is a communicational failure, not a youth failure. So the three questions that you need to answer is on the screen, and I believe that you will answer within the 5 minutes. If you have any questions, you may ask and stop me.
I just want to say that I'm not from Kazakhstan, I'm from Russia. And now the survival anxiety is really vital because all of this, information about drone attacks, and all of this stuff according to the conflict. And all the social media is full of this news. And so I want to say that, yes, it is such a problem, I think, in Russia now. And also, I want to say that not all of young men are voting in Russia as well. And they're not so involved in the politic life. So I think that's the same pattern in Russia as well in this point.
Yeah, right. Perfect. Like, if you have any examples from the Russia, we can hear it, and this will be an useful information. But what you said is right, because it's not about the country; it's about the communication. Communication, like peers and youngsters decide not to choose their rights and legal literacy, and decide to choose and prefer games over their own dignity and their own safeness. So I agree 100% with you. And if you have any questions or answers on other questions, you may stop and answer them.
Okay, thanks.
Do you have any other answers? Guys? Okay. I believe no. So I'm so sorry that I didn't upload the yesterday homework. My my internet connection was really poor yesterday, and because of that, I didn't really have an opportunity to provide a homework. And right now, you have two options. Like the first option is a personal data audit. Find one statistic about youth in your own country that parallels what we saw in Kazakhstan today. And what is Olga said right now, that not many youngsters in Russia participate in political campaigns and don't vote, really. And where does the engagement gap shows? And where does the optimism survive? Bring it to the lecture 3, and I will be happy to hear from you any of the answers. So the option 2 is the survival questions. If you love to write, this is for you. So the question or the option itself is like to write from 150 to 200 words, answering this honestly. What is the one thing that occupies your mind most right now? The thing that crowds out everything else. Does it leave room for civic engagement? Don't perform an answer. Be honest. Like, I prefer answering these questions. I'm giving an example. So if I would answer this question, I would say like, to be honest, right now, most of my time occupies one social media. This is called TikTok, and the most largest social media right now that occupies my mind and prevents me from learning really good stuff. And it's just doom scrolling that can cause a harmful output on me. And I believe that most of the peers like me is more likely to prefer TikTok over the law. So does it leave room for civic engagement? I believe no, because you're doom scrolling straight for 5 hours a day, and then you will eventually sleep or even create disturbance to your health and mental health by sitting up to 4 a.m. in the TikTok and harming yourself. So I believe that you will answer need option 1 or option 2, or you can give your own speech. I'm providing a third option. You can give your speech about your own examples of youngsters that is creating disturbance, and the examples, you can provide any pictures, you can provide any data if you want to, that is really useful and don't lead to disinformation. So thank you all. Next lecture is enter effect. I believe we will dive deeper in this hook and this effect that can be helpful to many youngsters. And we will learn examples of current hooks and things.
Thank you very much. Bye.
Yeah, thank you too.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.